Sarcastically explained. Brand new animal. Wait, Boku no Hero Academia? Oh no, that's BNA or MHA for you Dub Watchers. BNA is the anime about your continued journey of discovering whether or not you are a furry. But really, if you haven't figured it out after Beastars or Zootopia, chances are you aren't one and don't need to worry about it. You know, I don't know what compelled me to watch this show, to be quite honest. When it released in March initially, I wasn't quite hyped for it, and then it came out on Netflix a couple of weeks ago, and then there been a steady stream of tweets, and now I don't know why I'm watching this. There's definitely not some unknown third factor. Nope, definitely could not be that. BNA is a play on DNA and stands for brand new animal. In this world, there is a separate species of humans known as beastmen, and as the name would imply, they can turn to anthropomorphized versions of animals. Basically like the Kaneko legend, just on steroids. And of course, this leads to a lot of racism. For some reason. We follow Michiru, who appears to be your standard cute anime girl doing cute things, except one day she woke up and found out she's a Tanuki beastman. That's a raccoon dog for those of you not in the know. Or if you've seen Shield Hero, Raftalia. And what's her first course of action, you might ask? Well, it's to run away to the segregated city of Anima to find a cure for her disease. If that raised a little eyebrow given the current state of things, yeah, this show doesn't do serious social issues well. I don't think it's negligent, it's probably just a case of wrong show, wrong time. Trust me, you'll see it if you watch it. Now, she encounters a ton of trouble on the way, almost dying, but the weasel Mari helps her out at a cost. She then gets to the city and is overjoyed to see so many beastmen being beastmen. Oh, and then a terror plot happens by race traders which kind of ruins the fun, but thankfully she's saved by resident superhero Shiro Ogami. And she briefly glimpses the local deity, the Silver Wolf, aka Ginro. Gee, wonder who that could be. I have no idea. Now, while she's trying to figure out how she suddenly became a beastman, she meets the beastman traffickers, the mob, the other mob, and the mayor, who coincidentally turns out to be the leading expert in beastman genetics. Well, one of them at least. But anyways, since she's the main character, Michiru's a special case and she can basically turn into any animal she wants, partially. Basically, she's a very overtuned version of Beast Boy from Teen Titans, and... Now, because I mentioned that, that is definitely someone's crack ship. Thanks, Internet. Very cool. So what's the best use of these powers, you might ask? Well, to absolutely pub stomp the city's ethnically segregated Death Game Pro Baseball League. Oh, and there's some stuff about classism in there, I think, which the show handles as gracefully as Michiru handles anything, which is to say, adorable, but rather clumsy. She also goes to a party back in the human world with her new BFF Nina, an influencer who does human face on Facebook to be successful. It's not racist because she's a beastman. They go to a party where the theme is beastmen, which is kinda messed up if you consider the racial implications. Oh, and then they almost accidentally kill Nina because this is dumb as hell and doesn't know that dolphins are mammals and breathe oxygen like us. That is speciesism, it is wrong, and Jotaro as a marine biologist would aura this entire party if he ever got wind of it. Now, although Michiru could fully go home right now, she decides to go right back to Anima because, I actually don't really know why the explanation here was kind of wishy-washy. And now that I think about it, an episode of her at home could have been really good for her character development. Okay, now, wasted potential arguments aside, just when you think things can't get any weirder, a cult shows up that worships a silver wolf. The plot twist? They actually have a silver wolf. But it's not a silver wolf, it's her best friend Nazuna, who's posing as a false goddess, and her archbishop, Lieutenant Zex Marquise. Right, I'm making this resumers. And her archbishop, Dio. Mio! Who is definitely not creepy at all. A creep in organized religion? Pfft, unheard of. And speaking of creepy guys, here's resident farmer bro Alan Silvasta. He's got an eye on Michiru for some reason, but he's also working on something in the background that'll better all of beast kind. More on that in a minute. Now, it turns out that Desalouv has the same morphing powers that Michiru does, and has been using them to pose as a false goddess, and now the Silver Wolf cult is using this legitimacy to try to take up residence in the city, which the mayor opposes. Because let's be real, if the cult of Scientology rocked up to your city right now, I think you would want your mayor to oppose that. But really, that is the least of their worries right now because the screws are starting to tighten on this whole medical center conspiracy thing. Beastmania is running wild on your sister, but it's okay because Shiro's the real Silver Wolf, which would have been a great plot twist for me had I not been Chinese and understand some kanji. Like seriously, if you look at his name right here, it literally means great god or big god. Also, if you played Okami and put 2 and 2 together, yeah, but that really doesn't detract from how cool the reveal is altogether. Oh, and then because this is an anime, we get an exposition dump where we find out that the Beastmen were victims of genocide at the medieval city of Nirvashil. They all went rampant with something that will be later known as Nirvashil syndrome, and this only happens when you get a bunch of Beastmen and subspecies together, and this triggers some sort of psychological stress in them. The only survivor of this massacre was Shiro, and somehow he's immortal because of it. Neat. Oh, and the mayor was in a concentration camp or something, and the Nazis may or may not have experimented on Beastmen back in the day, but that's a story for another time. Now, how do these seemingly random plot points come together? Well, it turns out that when Michiru and Nazuna were humans, they were in a car accident, and then when they were in the hospital, someone royally fucked up and injected them with Beastmen drugs. Which, aside from giving them the grounds to sue that hospital in the Stone Age, led to Nazuna's abduction and turn into a cult icon. They just didn't check where the rest of the drugs went, which was Michiru, which is why she wasn't abducted. Now, when another Beastman goes rampant, Michiru and Shiro defeat him, but the body's quickly hauled out to the city's medical center, where it's revealed that Sylvester is creating a vaccine to get rid of Nirvashil syndrome, by completely removing the Beastman genes. Now, if that didn't tip you off, it turns out Sylvester isn't as nice as he seems. Shocker, the pharma industry evil? Wow, custom Wu-Tang album when? Oh, and he's also descended from the general that destroyed Nirvashil in the first place, and this triggers Shiro to the nth degree, and he basically declares war on an entire city. Sylvester actually manages to manipulate Michiru onto his side with the promise of getting rid of her Beastman genes, which she accepts. Sylvester intends to use this religious rally as a means to turn everyone rampant and then have the grounds to wipe everyone out. Oh, and he was also colluding with the Japanese Prime Minister, who's all on board. Very evil. Oh, and the mayor was briefly kidnapped during all this, but managed to break out. It was also orchestrated by the Prime Minister. Just a footnote. Michiru then stops Shiro from murdering a child, but turns out her mind goes to shit when Dio does as Dio does and uses his skill of oratory and charisma to turn everyone rampant by exposing the false goddess. Oh, and that also triggers Shiro into a literal PTSD flashback to Nirvashil, but it's okay when he bites Michiru because it turns out her blood has the ability to stop Nirvashil syndrome somehow. The mayor then uses this new information to develop a vaccine to revert Nirvashil syndrome, and if that sounds implausible, given the length of vaccine development, yeah, don't worry about it. She's just real smart, like top percentage smart, okay? Now basically the city's a no-go zone, but it's also discovered that somehow the Silver Wolf's health can calm rampant Beastmen down. Shiro and Sylvester have their dramatic showdown, and in a truly dramatic turn of events, Sylvester's also a Beastman! He just claims he's better than everyone else because his ancestors never got together with humans or other Beastman species. And he alleges that this somehow means he won't get Nirvashil syndrome because of it, and if that sounds like a lot of Sweet Home Alabama, yeah, let's not get into that. They then have a Dragon Ball style battle, but it turns out that blood purity is not actually a good indicator of battle strength. Shocker. So shocking, in fact, that Sylvester actually gets Nirvashil syndrome too. Thankfully, Michiru convinces Shiro to spare this waste of life, and everything gets back to normal when they broadcast Shiro's howl, long enough for people to calm down and get the new vaccine. And then they live happily ever after in segregation. Wait, what the fuck? Hey guys, Eric here. Hope you liked that video. If you did, remember to like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, and maybe, just maybe, check out all those links below. Thanks for watching.